I'm Peter Gordon of Planetizen Courses. I'm also Professor Emeritus, University of Southern California, where I've been teaching materials like this for some years. Welcome to the fourth course on economic thinking for planners. In this course, we're looking at the economics of the environment. Specifically, we want to talk about how private costs and social costs diverge and when. Remember, the previous lesson had been all about looking at opportunity costs and how they measure up in terms of our willingness to pay. The question now is, do the opportunity costs that we see tell the whole story? Well, whether they do or not is a question of conflicting rights. Are the rights in place? Are the rights well understood? And to fix that, we may have to do some work to get the prices right. And that's an interesting policy challenge. And perhaps that addresses our concerns about recycling, about species preservation, about whether to negotiate and whether not to negotiate, about whether cap and trade is a feasible policy, what we can possibly do about climate change. We're going to be talking about how economic thinking compares or contrasts with standard environmentalism, and finally, something called the environmental Kuznets curve, which really means how does it all depend? How does our perception, our interest in the environment, depends on how rich or how poor we are? Well, I guess we should start with some questions. And the standard question is, are markets and environmental concerns at odds or not? Can markets teach us anything about what to do about the environment? Can understanding markets deepen our understanding of environmental problems and challenges? Remember, we talked about scarcity, trade-offs, evaluating substitutes, property rights. We said those always matter, and I guess the question is whether we can possibly talk intelligently about the environment without considering them. So we're going to ask, what are market-compatible environmental policies? Are such policies attractive, and why? Remember, these policies recognize incentives. Remember, it's always incentives over intentions. We may have wonderful intentions towards the environment, but that really matters a lot less. Marginal analysis will come into play, as is the fact that information is scarce and dispersed. So with that as an introduction, let's get started.